This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com. It is such a great zchus to have been invited by Rabbi Shmuel Wise to come to speak to all of you today. I must tell you that the first time that Rabbi Shmuel called me about 2 months ago, and he told me about what he is accomplishing, without a doubt I thought he's 50. How could anybody, he had to be that age, with that scope, to create a program that literally 3,000 people a month are learning a daf. It's just incredible that a young man, and then when I saw him, I spoke to him last week, and I realized, wait a second, he's not 50, he doesn't sound 50. And then I asked him how old he was, and when I saw him this morning for the first time, I just couldn't believe it. I mean, the truth is, he used an expression that I wrote down. I can't get over it, and this is his definition of what he is. There's no such thing as limitations, and it's really incredible. Rav Aaron Kotler once said something, he wrote it, and he said it many, many times. He said that Reb Chaim Volozhiner once wrote, and if you take a look in the Nefesh HaChaim, it's actually Rav Chaim who said this, but his son Rabbi Yitzchak Volozhiner wrote that his father always used to say that Iker Brias Ha'adam, the main purpose of a person is Lahoyil La'achrine, to help other people. And that's the lashon that Rab Chaim used to tell his son. Remember, Loi La'atzmai Nivra. You were not created for yourself. Every one of us, Hashem has blessed us with certain talents, and what we have to do is to go out and use those talents to help other people. That's the essence of what life is all about. And when you look around here, Rabbi Rothman, who spent so many years in the rabbinate, and Rami, who's running this program, so many people here live this credo, Loi La'atzmai Nivra. And of course, Rabbi Shmuel, that's what his whole life is all about. And I must tell you, it didn't occur to me until he mentioned that he's a Talmud of Chavetz Chaim, and of course he learned in Rochester. There's Kivrei Tzadikim just a couple miles from here. We don't have to go to Poland. Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky is buried in Mount Judah Cemetery, and Rav Pam and Rav Henoch Leibowitz. And every time we go to Rav Henoch Leibowitz's kever, I tell everyone, the men and women that come, is that every time I did a bris, and Rav Henoch was sandik, right before the bris, he would call over the father, and he would say, I give you a bracha that your son should be a marbitz Torah. That was the bracha that he gave to every single father without fail. When he got older and he became a little bit more forgetful, sometimes he would forget to do that. So I would call the father before the bris. I said, get a bracha from the Rosh Hashiva. And then the Rosh Hashiva would say, I give you a bracha, you should be marbitz Torah. And then I always delineate so many of the wonderful yeshivas that Chavetz Chaim guys have started, whether it's in Rochester, whether it's in Milwaukee, whether it's in Las Vegas, whether it's in Dallas and in Brooklyn, and of course Miami. And now I meet the biggest Rosh Hashiva of all. I mean, according to the Chavetz Chaim, that he taught 400 blot a day, I mean, there's no yeshiva across the country that's teaching as many people as Rav Shmuel Weiss. So that's a great schos for Rav Henoch and for his Talmidim, Rabbi Davidowitz, and Hashem should bench you and your wife and your family for being an unbelievable marbitz Torah. When Rav Meir Shapiro proposed the idea of the Daf Yomi, he was one of the youngest speakers at that Agudas Yisrael Kinos. He was 36 years old. But he was an electrifying speaker. And because he was such a great speaker, he made such an impression on the people, and that's why he was able to sell them on the idea of the Daf Yomi. So I want to tell you two things that he said. One of the things that he said is that you take a look at the Daf, and you'll see how it unites all of Klal Yisrael. You take a look at the Mishnah was written in Eretz Yisrael. You take a look at the Gemara was written in Bavel. You take a look at Rashi came from France. You take a look at Tosfos came from Germany. And then he extended it. You take a look at the Rif, he came from Morocco. You take a look at the Rambam, he came from Spain. You take a look at the Marsha, he came from Poland. And you take a look at a Gemara today, an art scroll comes from America. And in all seriousness, Art Scroll, what Ramey Zlata was, Zeichat Tzadik L'Vracha, what he accomplished, and what the Schottensteins accomplished, Rav Nosson Sherman and all those people, that's incredible. So what the Daf does is it unites Jewish history from the time, really, of Rabbeinu HaKadosh. And when you look at real clear Daf, which I have on my app, when Rami walked me through it, he was so kind to walk me through the app and the website, it is so phenomenal. It's uniting all of Klal Yisrael around the world. Anyone who has a smartphone and anyone who wants to put on an app, like tonight, for example, I'm going to Eretz Yisrael. Now, when you're in the plane, you can't use a smartphone. But if you download a few daf, which I plan to do, as I was telling Reb Shmuel, you could download it before you get on the plane. You could learn, you got a chavrusa up in the air, close to Shemayim. That's not a bad idea to have a chavrusa up there, right? So that's great. You just download it, and he's talking to you. And like we said before, you could go back and forwards. It's incredible that one man is able to do this. It's Eitz Chaim Hilam Al Zikim, and that's right now. Now we have a different type of Eitz Chaim. I don't know if Eitz Chaim is gematria smartphone. I don't know yet. We'll have to figure it out. But the idea is that's the Eitz Chaim that we have with us all the time. We can hold on to it thanks to Rabbi Shmuel and everything that he does. I tell you the truth, when I spoke to him and he was telling me everything he said, I said, you must have a great wife. I don't know how she allows you to do this day and night. And who supports you? And that's what we're here for. Not only to support him in spirit, but we should support him. Take the envelope that's on the table. Send a check. So that this tzaddik should be able to finish Shas and really be a Marbetz Torah to hundreds of thousands throughout the world. Just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.